This was in Michigan. This is at the People's Conference of Palestine. The subtitle of this conference was Gaza is the Compass. So effectively saying that we need to follow the way of Gaza as we seek to free Palestine. And this is one that caught a lot of attention because as she starts to talk to this crowd about the Palestinian cause, and she starts to take a turn back towards America. This is bite one from Congresswoman Tlaib just days ago.
They thought they could kill us, rape us, imprison us, violently uproot us from our olive tree farms, starve our children to death, and we would disappear. Well, guess what? Now we're in Congress, and we're every corner of the United States. Y'all, they just don't get it. They just don't get it. They will never truly comprehend, even after 7 decades, that we aren't going anywhere. We are just getting started. I want to say to all of them, every genocide enabler, look at this room, we ain't going anywhere.
That is Rashida Tlaib with some signature language I feel like she always throws in there. You guys can fill in the beeps for yourselves of what she was calling what you would say, quote unquote, genocide enablers, which at this point, Will, I think it's kind of an all-encompassing. It feels like it's not just people who are supportive of Israel and their cause to remove Hamas from leadership. We're also talking about Americans. We're talking about anyone who they believe. And look, the first part of this you could say is pretty generic rhetoric. Generic rhetoric we've heard now for the last number of years. Nothing too, I'd say, over the top. Is it offensive? Of course it's offensive, but it's nothing extreme. And then it does take a turn. And you're right, when it starts turning towards the United States, we're now in Congress and we're in every corner of the United States. That does feel a little from the river to the sea-ish.
What you have to realize is that their ideology isn't just about taking down Israel. It's also about taking down places like the United States, where there is a Western-style government, where there is Western-style freedoms. They don't want that. This is from Tlaib, from the same speech, just moments after that first clip we played, where she's taking it not just about, at this People for Palestine conference, it's not just about Palestine in her words. Play bite 2.
It's not just Demi Palestinia. It's that as an American, this city taught me that the political structures that I have to work in, that we all are surrounded by, was built on slavery and genocide and rape and oppression. Detroit taught me that these institutions will never save us. Detroit will remind me constantly, the community mothers, that it's not the genocide-enabling Congress or the White House that will free our people. It is only us. It can only be us.
Logan, this is getting dangerously close to some of like overthrow type rhetoric of she's a sitting member of Congress and she's saying that the political structures that she has to work in, poor her, being elected to Congress, has to work in these that are built on slavery and genocide. And yet it's not the Congress or the White House, not the freedoms that are enshrined in our Constitution that can save people. It is only the people in that room.
It's this over-demonization. It's no longer about whether we're going to run a better candidate next time and we are going to give a better point of view. And that better point of view is going to win us the day. It's now this talk of, like you said, of like overthrow, where it gets a bit uncomfortable to have these conversations because it's no longer about, and you're right, it's the talking point. It's not about whether you agree or disagree. It becomes right or wrong. And when you start saying something is wrong or is evil or, is genocide defending or any of the words that she was using on there, yeah, of course, your first initial thought is, well, we have to overthrow it, much like what was happening currently in the situation in Israel. They feel like they need to overthrow Hamas. They can't leave Hamas standing because we know it will just revert. Now, eventually, do things get worn out on the war field, on the battlefield? Maybe so. But look, President Trump just posted on Truth, tell Hamas to immediately give back all 20 hostages, not 2 or 5 or 7, and things are going to change rapidly, and it will end. So you have President Trump still out there trying to find an end to this war that maybe doesn't involve a full submission by Hamas. And I think that's more fighting for the American people. And I don't necessarily have a big problem with that. People have asked me that specifically. Do I think that that's the solution? No. But I also saw someone this weekend said, terrorism can never be defeated, so we got to stop this. Well, that's no way to look at the world either. If we're not fighting for inevitable peace, what are you fighting for? And I guess the answer can't just be, well, they're going to eventually just try to kill us anyway, so might as well just let them.
Well, and once again, I think we should play this final clip because the previous ones could just sound like fiery rhetoric, but it does take a turn which could be interpreted as almost a direct call for some sort of violence. And we will play that just in a second. But also other speakers at this conference said things like this. This is Nidal Jabbour, who is with Doctors Against Genocide, said, "It's time for us to pay back and stop the criminals, the perpetrators, the child murderers, and we all know who they are, whether they are in Israel, in Tel Aviv, in Washington, in Germany, in Europe. We name them all. We all know them. They need to be locked up. They need to be taken out. They need to be neutralized to save children, to save humanity." That's calling for the elimination of American leaders, people in Washington, directly at a conference here in the United States. And that's very similar to statement by Congresswoman Tlaib, Bite 3, where she is talking about the tactics inside Gaza already being deployed here in the U.S. Let's play Bite 3.
What's been tested on the killing fields of Gaza is already being deployed right here in the streets of America.
I don't know that there are many other ways to take that other than support of the massacre on October 7th, the way that Hamas utilizes terror to keep a people contained, have no freedom, no liberty there, no diversity there. And saying that what's been tested on, as she calls them, the killing fields of Gaza is already being deployed right here in the United States. In Gaza, you don't see a healthy legal protest community. You don't see outspoken against tyrannical government that governs them in Gaza. That would get you killed in Gaza. The only thing you see is terror from Hamas killing Israelis, killing civilians, massacring people on October 7th. That is saying that that's being deployed right here in the streets of America. This goes beyond a call for a censure within the Congress. That doesn't stop her. That makes her more emboldened. She wears it as a badge of honor because she doesn't like the political structure she works in. That is dangerous rhetoric coming from a sitting member of Congress.
Well, three things jump out. One is she was reading those words, so it was very deliberate. It wasn't off the cuff. She was glancing down at her speech. That was a well thought out attack that she had planned to do. And so I think people need to realize that this is going to get worse from her. This wasn't an off-the-cuff emotional moment. It was a strategic statement. Secondly, she's lucky that she lives in the United States, where there's freedom of the press and freedom of speech and freedom of religion. She gets to say anything she wants because we have great American military men and women who protect those freedoms. I believe in the First Amendment, but she should be thankful that she lives in the United States, because here's the third point. She couldn't say those words in another country. She probably couldn't even say those words in the UK at this point. The United Kingdom is having some real problems with freedom of speech. But as crazy as her words are, and they are protected speech, I think the best way that we can deal with this is to let her words be known to every single person. Let her radicalness be known, because she's not helping her cause, for one. She's certainly not helping Michigan. She is someone who is a problem, a growing problem. And it's not just politics and PR, but it's getting to the point where she is really not helping our national security. And so she needs to be able to feel the pressure of the public on her words, because those words were strategic and very unhelpful.